Hello YouTube, this is LFC Gamer here once again. Yes, it's been a while since I last made one of these videos, but I thought, you know what, I feel like making another collection update video. So here today I've got 5 games, 2 PS2 games, 2 PS1 games and a Sega Mega Drive game. Without any further ado, let's begin. The 2 PS2 games I got Zone of the Enders and Zone of the Enders the second runner, and I've not played any of these games yet. I only just got those games like a couple of days ago. I've not yet played them, but I remember wanting to get the first Zone of the Enders game when I first got the PlayStation 2. And yes, it's by the same guy who made Metal Gear Solid. And as you probably know, I'm a massive fan of the Metal Gear games. Not so much Metal Gear Solid 5, that game's a piece of shit, but that's just my opinion. But I've not played the Zone of the Ender games. I know it's like, I think you fight robots. But as you say, I've not played these games before, so if they're any good, please let me know, because I want to check them out. Especially the first game, because it was one of the games that made me want to buy a PS2 in the first place. Yeah, I didn't pick the game up until now. Can't believe it took me this long. But yeah, both games are complete with the instruction manuals and disc. I made sure of that before making this video. And there's the back of the games. And they're in pretty nice condition. I bought both those games, came in the bundle, it cost me 10 quid. So I'm happy to get those. So tonight I'll be playing the Zone of the Enders. So yeah, Zone of the Enders 1 and 2. Need to check them out. As for PlayStation 1 now, a game that I had many years ago and I absolutely loved it. And it's Monsters Inc. Scare Island. One of my absolute favourite Disney films of all time. Monsters University is good, but I absolutely loved Monsters Inc. Still watch the film every now and then. Yeah, I remember this game as well. This game, if I remember correctly, was actually a load of fun. It's a typical 3D platformer. You can't get enough of platformers. I absolutely love those sort of games. But I remember having a lot of fun with this game, always playing as a Sully. Mike's a fun character to play as, but I don't know, I absolutely love Sully. He's one of my favourite Disney characters of all time. And here's the back of the game, which is in very nice condition. So yeah, that's Monsters Inc. Scare Island for the PlayStation 1. I believe there was a PS2 version, but I've not played that. So there we go. Next is, of course, Final Fantasy VI. Yes, this is the PS1 version. The original Super Nintendo version was never released over in Europe. And yeah, this game in America was called Final Fantasy III, but this is actually the 6th game in the series. Final Fantasy VI, I have played this game so many times on the emulator. Yeah, I played the Super Nintendo version and it is a brilliant, absolutely brilliant game. I've not played the PS1 port. If it's any good, please let me know. But I have heard that there is some error with the music. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I shall find out. But yeah, Final Fantasy VI, one of the best games. Not just on the Super Nintendo or PlayStation like this version, but one of the greatest games ever made. If you've not played Final Fantasy VI, I would highly check this game out. It is a brilliant game. The only thing with this PS1 version though is that there's cutscenes, which the original Super Nintendo version didn't. But the Super Nintendo version didn't need that because it had a great story, great characters, and some of the best music ever in the video game. And yeah, here's the back of the game. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I think you probably noticed, it has the Final Fantasy X demo disc as well, which I think's which I think's a good idea, especially for people who've not played Final Fantasy X, which is a Final Fantasy game which has mixed reception. Some people absolutely love it, like myself, and there are other people who don't like it as much. But let's cut back to the chase here. Final Fantasy VI, absolute must-own for any RPG enthusiast or for someone who wants to try out the Final Fantasy games. Yeah, Final Fantasy VI, a great game. It's a must-own, as I just said. So there we go. And last but not least, the Sega Mega Drive game. It's none other than the Flintstones. Yes, I absolutely loved the Flintstones as a kid. Used to always watch them on Cartoon Network and Boomerang. But yeah, I thought, you know what, I might check out this game. It was on there for a bargain, so I thought I'd snatch it, and it was a good bargain. It's a really, really fun platformer where you play as Fred Flintstone. Yeah, the first level you start off in Bedrock. Yeah, obviously it's based, well, sort of based off the original cartoon. And then there's a level where you're riding the car where you can see Fred Flintstone using his feet, just like what he did in the cartoon. So yeah, this game does follow the cartoon very well, and it's a fun platform game. It's quite a tough game, but I got pretty close to beating it the other day, but I might try and sit down and complete this game. If you like your 16-bit platformers, look no further, because the Flintstones is an absolute great game. There's a Super Nintendo Flintstones game which isn't very good, but I know this Flintstones game is absolutely fantastic. I'd recommend anyone to check this out if you like your 16-bit platformers or you like the Flintstones. So yeah, check this game out. Right, that is it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I shall see you all soon. Ta-ra.